You check your banking app. You already know what you're hoping to see, a number that has finally started moving. Instead, it's almost exactly where it was 6 months ago. You have tried. You transferred money into the account. Then the car needed a repair. You went out for a birthday dinner. A subscription renewed that you'd completely forgotten about. Something always seems to happen. And somehow the money that was supposed to stay leaves. So you promise yourself you'll do better next month. Then next month comes, and the same thing happens again. Eventually, the problem stops feeling financial. It starts feeling personal. Maybe I'm just bad with money. Maybe I'll never be disciplined enough. Maybe saving is something other people are naturally good at. But what if that's not actually the problem? What if the reason your savings never seem to grow has less to do with your willpower and more to do with the way you understand seasons? Because thousands of years ago, a man was given a warning about a future that nobody else could see. He knew something was coming. He knew exactly how long they had to prepare. And yet, strangely, the hardest part wasn't the crisis. It was the 7 years before it. Because when the crisis finally arrived, everyone suddenly understood why preparation mattered. But during the years of abundance, nobody felt desperate. Nobody felt urgency. There was food everywhere. Harvests were overflowing. Life was good. And that is exactly when preparation becomes hardest. His name was Joseph, and his story may completely change the way you think about your savings account. Joseph had not exactly been living a comfortable life. He had been betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, taken to Egypt, falsely accused, thrown into prison. And after years of being forgotten, everything changed in a single moment. Pharaoh had a dream. 7 healthy cows emerged from the Nile. Then 7 thin, sickly cows appeared and swallowed the healthy ones. But somehow they remained just as thin. Joseph interpreted the dream. 7 years of extraordinary abundance were coming, but after them, 7 years of devastating famine. And this is where the story becomes much more relevant to your life than it might initially seem. Because Joseph understood something that we struggle with constantly. A good season can make you forget that it is a season. When money is tight, saving sounds important. When an emergency happens, an emergency fund suddenly makes perfect sense. When your car breaks down, you immediately understand why you should have prepared. But when everything is going well, that's different. When your income arrives on time, when the bills are paid, when there's food in the house, when you have a little extra left at the end of the month, your brain starts telling you something very dangerous. You can always save later. And later feels reasonable, until later becomes tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next month. Next month becomes next year. And suddenly 6 years have passed and the account still hasn't moved. Joseph was living in the opposite direction. When the harvests were overflowing, he didn't say, "We have plenty, we can relax." He said, "We have plenty. This is when we prepare." That distinction changes everything. Think about what Egypt must have looked like during those first years. The fields were producing, the storehouses were filling, there was food everywhere, and year after year the harvest continued. Imagine being an ordinary Egyptian farmer in year 4. You've heard Joseph's warning, you know the prediction, but you've also watched 4 consecutive years of abundance. At some point, the famine begins to feel theoretical. The present feels more real than the future. And that's how human beings work. We tend to make decisions based on what we can see, while quietly assuming the future will resemble today. If today is comfortable, we spend like tomorrow will be comfortable. If today is difficult, we panic as though tomorrow will always be difficult. But neither assumption is wisdom, because seasons change. Joseph understood that, and he built a system around that truth. Notice something else.
Joseph didn't simply say, "Save whatever happens to be left over." He established a portion, a deliberate amount. Something was set aside before the abundance disappeared into everyday consumption. That's important because most of us approach saving backwards. We spend first. Bills come out, food is bought, entertainment happens, unexpected expenses appear, lifestyle expands. And then, at the end of the month, we look at whatever remains and say, "Maybe I'll save this." But what happens when nothing remains? Nothing gets saved. Joseph's system didn't depend on leftovers. It depended on intention. And that principle is surprisingly powerful in modern life. If saving only happens when you feel like you can afford it, saving will always lose to whatever feels urgent today. But if saving becomes part of the structure, it no longer requires you to make the same decision every month. That is why an automatic transfer can be more powerful than another motivational speech about discipline. You don't need to become a completely different person. You need a system that helps the person you already are make better decisions consistently. But there is something even deeper happening in Joseph's story. Joseph wasn't simply storing grain. He was converting present abundance into future provision. That is what saving really is. You take something available today and deliberately refuse to consume all of it because you understand that tomorrow may need it more than today does. That isn't fear. It can be wisdom. And for a Christian, that distinction matters. Some people feel guilty about saving. They wonder whether setting money aside means they're not trusting God. But Scripture doesn't present wise preparation as a failure of faith. Joseph was acting under God's revealed warning. His preparation wasn't evidence that he distrusted God's provision. It was part of the provision. God gave the warning. Joseph responded with wisdom, and the grain was stored before anyone needed it. That is an important distinction. Faith doesn't always mean waiting until the problem arrives. Sometimes faith means being wise enough to prepare while the problem is still invisible. And here's where the story gets uncomfortable. The famine wasn't Joseph's greatest test. The abundance was. The famine made preparation obvious. Abundance made preparation easy to ignore. During a crisis, discipline becomes easier because consequences are visible. But during comfort, that's when you hear the voice saying, "You deserve this. You can afford it. It's only a little more. You'll save next month. You've worked hard. Why not upgrade?" And none of those decisions necessarily feels dangerous. That's the problem. Financial instability is often not created by one enormous decision. It's created by hundreds of small decisions that never feel important enough to stop. One subscription, one unnecessary upgrade, one lifestyle increase, one meal, one impulse purchase, one "I'll replace it later." And eventually, the money that could have become security has become consumption. This is why increased income doesn't automatically create increased financial stability. Sometimes income rises and lifestyle simply rises with it. You make more, you spend more, you have nicer things, but somehow you still have almost nothing saved. The problem wasn't that you didn't have enough. The problem was that your lifestyle learned how to consume everything you had. Joseph's lesson is almost the opposite. When abundance increased, the amount being prepared increased too.
So look at your current season honestly. Maybe you're not wealthy. Maybe you're nowhere near what you would consider financially comfortable. But don't make the mistake of comparing your season with somebody else's. The question isn't, am I rich? The question is there anything in my current season that I can preserve instead of immediately consume? Maybe it's a small amount. Maybe it's 5%. Maybe it's less. The number isn't the first victory. The habit is. because a small system repeated consistently can eventually become something much larger than a dramatic attempt that collapses after 2 months. Joseph didn't fill the granaries in one afternoon. He did it harvest after harvest, year after year, boringly, consistently. That's how security is usually built, not through one heroic financial decision, through ordinary decisions repeated long enough to matter. But there's another mistake we make with saving. We think the goal is to have a number we never touch. That's not what Joseph's granaries were for. They were built to be opened. When famine came, the grain was released. The preparation had a purpose. This matters because some people feel like failure has happened the moment they withdraw money from savings. But what if the withdrawal is exactly why you saved? Your car breaks down. Your child needs something unexpected. A medical bill appears. Your income is interrupted. Life happens. The goal isn't to build an account so sacred that you're afraid to use it. The goal is to build enough resilience that when the unexpected happens, the unexpected doesn't destroy you. A good saving system isn't one that never gets touched. It's one that is there when the season changes. And Joseph's preparation didn't stop with Joseph. The famine eventually reached his own family. The brothers who had betrayed him eventually came to Egypt looking for food. Think about the irony. Years earlier, they had helped send Joseph away. Years later, the preparation Joseph had overseen became part of the provision that preserved the people who had rejected him. That gives saving another dimension. What you prepare today may not only protect you, it may one day protect someone you love, a parent, a child, a sibling, a friend, someone who hasn't even asked you for help yet. You don't know what tomorrow will require, and that's precisely why preparation matters. But let's return to that banking app, the account that barely moved. Maybe you've been looking at the number and thinking, I'm just bad at this. Maybe you don't need another lecture about discipline. Maybe you need to stop asking, how much money do I have left to save? And start asking, what portion of what comes into my hands am I deliberately keeping for the future? That's a completely different question. One is based on leftovers, the other is based on stewardship. And stewardship changes the way you see money. Money stops being merely something you earn and spend. It becomes something temporarily placed in your hands, something you're responsible for managing wisely. That doesn't mean you can predict the future. Joseph couldn't predict every detail of the famine. He simply knew enough to prepare. And that's all you need too. You don't need to know exactly what will happen next year. You don't need to know whether the car will break down. You don't need to know whether your income will change. You don't need to know what emergency is coming. You only need to accept one simple truth. The future is uncertain. And because it is uncertain, preparation has value. So, here's what I want you to do. Not tomorrow, not when your income doubles, not when life finally becomes less chaotic. This week, choose one amount. It can be small. Set it aside automatically when your income arrives, then leave it alone unless the money is genuinely needed. And if you already have savings, increase the system slightly. Don't wait for motivation. Build the structure, because motivation disappears. Systems remain. And every time money enters that account, you're doing something deeper than moving numbers between accounts. You're telling your future self, I remembered you. You're acknowledging that the person you will be 6 months from now, 1 year from now, may need something that the person you are today is capable of providing. That is not selfish. That is stewardship. And perhaps this is the biggest lesson hidden inside Joseph's story. We often imagine that God prepares us by removing every difficulty from our future. But sometimes preparation looks completely different. Sometimes the warning comes before the crisis. The opportunity comes before the need. The abundance comes before the famine. And the responsibility is simply to recognize the season you're in and steward it faithfully.
Maybe you're in a difficult season right now. If so, don't be ashamed. Maybe you're in a season where you're finally starting to breathe. Don't waste it. Maybe you're earning more than you used to. Don't automatically turn every increase into a new expense. Maybe things are going well. That's wonderful. But don't let a good season convince you that every season will be good. Because the famine doesn't send an invitation, it simply arrives. And when it does, you'll be grateful for what you chose to do while everything was still fine. So ask yourself one question tonight. What am I consuming today that my future self may desperately need tomorrow? Maybe the answer is money. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's attention. Maybe something else entirely. But don't ignore the question, because the season you're in right now, whatever it looks like, is not wasted time. It may be preparation time. And the same God who gave Joseph wisdom to prepare for a famine nobody could see yet has not forgotten you. Go in peace.